Hello everybody, Joe Bagadones here, and welcome back for another episode of MUV Love, Photonmelodies, Altered Fable. This is not Altered Fable, it is Adoration. I'm going to do that every single time. That's what 30 parts does to the brain, and I probably should have moved my mic down in front of me before I hit the record button. You live, you learn. I just woke up. Oh man. Yeah, definitely got some inner ear thing going on, because I didn't get the spins, but when I got out of bed, like, I could not stay upright. Like, I was just wobbling back and forth the whole way down the stairs. And thank God I have a narrow stair corridor and I could just put my hands on both walls. Also, I ran out of coffee, so I had to bust out the emergency supply of fucking G Fuel that I have. Which, it's alright. My only issue with it is that it dries out your mouth. Gives you cotton mouth, so drinking something that does that while also trying to talk and record is a little tricky, but hey, we will power through. What flavor did I even put in here? What is that? Dragon fruit punch. Okay. Don't know where the dragon fruit is, but it's just kind of a fruit punch. Works for me. But yeah, dry. Like the Sahara and my fucking love life. Okay, let's move on. What's up, LT? Giving us more mommy issues? God, I need to turn down my volume. I was jamming out fucking Kiss X Sis openings, because, oh man, they're pretty good, and they hit that nostalgia strong. What exactly are you up to, Lieutenant? Good shriek. Again, what exactly are you up to? Our survival instinct kicked in. I could ask you the same. My sixth eldest brother. God. Sukero. What? Sukero Kuro. Sure. Never heard the alarm clock ring because he always woke up 30 minutes early and turned it off. Sure, whatever you say, man. God, that name. This example has served me well. It's mere child's play to wake up an hour before the morning call. It actually is if you, condition your body to do that. Having an eternal alarm clock is very, very nice. This is what you get for underestimating House Makabe. I see through you, Lieutenant. You intended to play the same prank on me again. It's only par for the course that I was to be ready. Lieutenant, is waking others before the morning call a Bundeswehr custom of something of the sort? Why, might I ask? That's not something to be proud of. Oh, please. I'm not the one who's trying to play the same prank over and over again. I demand some answers. We're in our rebellious phase. Please don't dodge the question. Why must you come to wake me up every morning, 1 hour before morning call? Nice deflection. Lieutenant Fulner, please answer the question. She dares to ignore me? Inconceivable! I want to protest. I want to protest as firmly as I can, and yet I can't. For that would only come off as a display of entitlement. Yeah, classes are rough. Especially fucking military-style classes. Oh my god. Wait. Is she mocking the General Izmo of Dover Base Complex? Just like that? The man who stands above all other commanders? I've never seen the term General Izmo, but sure. Oh damn, what a shame. Looks like we'll spend the day in the presence of the CEO, and that means I won't have time to speak at leisure with my fellow cadets. Nevertheless, I'm sure I'll find an occasion to ask them about the other European forces. It's been 4 days already. Hopefully the others have learned something useful by now, because I certainly haven't. As a matter of fact, there's several things I would like to ask them about. However, if I don't offer my own analysis and opinion on the state of the European forces, any questions I ask will sound like an exchange of empty platitudes, no better than small talk. The one thing I'm most curious about is hearing what they think of Dover. Namely, if they share my opinion that this place seems best suited for athletes, not soldiers. To tell the truth, the prospect of meeting the other cadets fills me with uneasiness. What will become of me if they have spent their time in a proper training environment with their skills having developed far beyond mine? Inconceivable! Such a defeatist attitude is inconceivable coming from one who carries the blood of Makabe. He conquers who conquers himself. What? He conquers who conquers himself. Sure. A little circular there, but I'll roll with it. Doesn't matter if their training has been superior. Doesn't matter if their skills leave me in the dust. Irrespective of how talented they may be, no one will fight my battles for me. I guess it's a win the battle within first to win the battle without kind of thing. Okay. Like I said, it's early. I just woke up. Cut me some slack, guys. So it says the teachings of my second eldest brother, Kojiro. Clearly, I must reflect on his words. Reflection complete. My mind has been cleared and it has become clear and serene. Not a speck of lingering doubt remains. Whoa! The clarity of my thoughts dazzles even myself. I see what I must do now. Without shame, I should expose my lack of understanding and ask for instruction. As my fifth eldest brother, Jogoro, used to say, there's no such thing as a stupid question. There is, but go for it. I must not let the spectrum of humiliation and failure hurt my self-esteem. If I value my pride so highly that I need to fear the other cadets' scorn, my mental growth will soon reach an end. And if they are indeed ahead of me, then all the better, for I will proactively partake in their knowledge and use it as a springboard to reach the next level of my personal growth. Do not be impatient, Seijiro. House Makabe has gone through ages of war alongside the shogunate. There is only one way, forward!
どうしたの、清十郎? ぼーっとしちゃって。まさか熱が?
I'm sorry. My mind was somewhere else.
そうだ。そういえば明日からはいよいよ欧州統合火力演習の研修プログラムに移行するわね。清十郎楽しみでしょう。
It is. I can't wait, yes. That's right. I was so worried about my troubles at hand, I almost missed the forest for the trees. For tomorrow, until the last day of my exchange, the centerpiece of my stay, the European live fire exercise. It's formally a training exercise, but the term is misleading. Not only will live ammunition be used, but hand-picked units from the European forces will also participate in the event. This is it. This is when I can finally get to see Cerberus and the Typhoon in action. A fire burns inside me. A fire so strong not even the flames of hell could compare.
やっぱり清十郎はええしね。火力演習と聞いて顔つきや雰囲気がいきなり変わったわ。
It's only natural, Lieutenant. I've been looking forward to seeing Cerberus in action since the moment I set foot in Dover, and the day has finally arrived.
そう。清十郎が喜んでくれてよかった。
But of course, I wouldn't dare call myself a service pilot cadet otherwise.
よーし。清十郎が喜ぶなら私ももっと頑張らなきゃ。
Sure, don't get killed in a training accident or anything. I expect great things from you, Lieutenant. Wait, no. It's her fault I had to wake up an hour before the morning call. Why am I getting all fired up together with Lieutenant Fulner? She got me caught up in her enthusiasm. Unbelievable! And besides, it'd be unrealistic to expect her to play a leading role in Europe's premier fighting force in the first place. In the face of real combat, experience trumps skill. It seems highly unlikely that a pilot who was commissioned only 6 months ago could play a vital part in such a major event. But to be fair, I shouldn't jump to conclusions. My assumptions may very well be mistaken. I haven't even so much as glanced at the Lieutenant Simulator results. Right now, I'm in no position to accurately evaluate her performance as a surface pilot.
それじゃあ少し早いけど朝食に行きましょうか。食後はメイン
Sure, what's on the menu
車屋
today?
様で送るわ。
Something normal? That's fine with me, but why are we holding hands?
え清十郎が迷ったらどうするのよ。
Lieutenant, this fortress base is state-of-the-art. There are countless signs and maps at our disposal here. I simply failed to see how it could get lost. Man, that must be nice. Most bases fucking suck. Like, the buildings, they have their numbers on them, but they're so fucking small, and only by, like, the front door. And where the building assumes the front door is and where it actually is, completely different. Like, you'll come off the main street, and you'll be, like, on, like, the back side of the building with, like, no number, and it's like, I don't know what address I'm at. You look at your map, and it's got, like, the addresses from, like, 10 years ago. It's like, they could have moved by now. In some cases, they have, and it's like, well, fuck. And then you have to call someone at your shop and be like, hey, do you know where this place is? Because no one ever goes there, so you're just fucking shit out of luck. This woman, what a pain. Good grief, she's too nice for her own good. Also, I'm not sure I've mentioned it before, but oh man, fucking carpet in a dining hall, disgusting. One, it'd get worn down super quick by all the chairs, like, grating against it as people, like, move their seats in and out. Inevitably, people are gonna spill things. You just can't prevent that. Someone's gonna trip, someone's gonna, like, scoot their chair back and catch someone's foot as they're walking with their tray. Coffee, just like, oops, I slipped, and there it goes. Because we have a carpet in what used to be our break room, which is now like one of our main office areas, and there's just stains all over the floor. Like, just big, dark stains in the gray government carpet. That's like, yeah, that's probably been there for like 15 years, and it's never going to get cleaned out. It's just part of the scenery now. And where the refrigerator used to be, there's just, like, water stains from when, like, the coolant leaked or something. Ugh. Ugh. Now imagine a place like this that's getting used so often. Awful. And it's green. I don't know how I feel about green carpet. It makes me feel like fake grass. No, it's... Probably. No, I wouldn't say so. It was fine, but nothing special. It's just the accumulated stress getting me. I'm not lying when I said it wasn't when there wasn't anything special, but that's precisely the problem. If there was something noteworthy, it's that my worst fears came true. Oh God, give me a sec. Ew, morning congestion. Everyone shared the same opinion, that there's absolutely nothing to be learned in Europe. The consensus was that the Europeans were lacking in terms of discipline, at the very least when compared with the Royal Guard officers. It was disheartening to find out people could be so laid back on the front lines. Well, you gotta be. As far as I can tell, the Bundeswehr has the loosest disciplinary standards. Not that the other European forces seem all that different, based on what the others said. I mean, kind of a devil-may-care attitude, I guess. When pretty much all is lost, you know, the only thing you can do is laugh and take it easy, or else you'll just fucking cry. You know, considering most of the forces stationed here probably don't have a homeland anymore, and they've got their fucking shit rocked. Yes, it was very interesting. I was rather surprised to find out how different the Royal Guard and the European forces are, though. As a Royal Guard cadet, what I want to learn about in Europe is the mindset and the way of life of those who have survived on the front lines. What I desire most is to meet veterans who have lived through fierce battles and to benefit from their expertise. Such knowledge would be invaluable when it's my time to defend the Empire. I should have known from the start that there wasn't much to learn from my fellow cadets, and tempered my expectations accordingly. On the other hand, I did hear a somewhat interesting story. There was this one cadet, though. He was dispatched to the French forces and supposedly had it the worst among us. Amogus. He told me he was assigned to a female officer, one quite short for a Westerner. I mean, what does that mean? Like, height ranges from like 4'10" to like 6'2"? For like European woman? What are you talking about? And that she worked him to the bone. In a sea of resignation, only his eyes were shining with determination. Must be because he's going through a taxing training regime, I'll bet different from what's the norm in the Empire. It's likely he'll be the only one to bring something of value back to our homeland. The cadet said her position is often called by a peculiar designation, the Gunslinger. Apparently, she's a close-range specialist who uses 4 assault cannons at the same time in high-speed dogfights. Cool. So, ranged DPS. Sounds contradictory for a close-quarter specialist to rely only on ranged weaponry, but maybe it's a valuable tactic in a TSF with lots of close-range combat armaments. I mean, yeah. Just fucking sheerly just overwhelm them with sheer volume of fire. The way surface pilots respond to TSF developments with new combat positions is a fascinating topic. I would love to see her in action during the live fire combat exercises. This unit has the luxury of housing 3 of the 7 heroes, but they are so far removed from everyday life that I can't possibly gain any particular insights. Might as well be learning from a textbook. Considering those I spend the most time with, well, I believe Lieutenant Falkenmeyer could teach me more about chivalry. That alone does not justify the expenses of sending a cadet abroad, however. The hard-earned taxes of Imperial subjects are funding my stay. I must learn something of importance and take it back home, else I fear this will end up as nothing but an exercise in wasteful spending. Get used to that if you're working in the government. It's high time I start acting on my concerns. And I might as well start with the person closest to me, Lieutenant Fulner. Surely she has valuable experiences to share. Lieutenant Fulner, would you mind if I ask you a personal question? Could you tell me about your first battle? The day I experienced my first real battle draws near. Lieutenant Fulner has survived the 8 minutes of death. I want to hear what it was like. Well, I mean, if you don't want to talk about it, you could tell me about the time when you were commissioned instead. It's just that, as soon as my training period ends, I'll be commissioned, and since the Empire is one of mankind's front lines, I'll stand on the battlefield shortly thereafter. That's why I'd like to know how you felt the first time you experienced actual combat, and how you faced the 8 minutes of death. I'll soon have to do the same, after all. I'm hoping I'm not asking for too much. I've heard Lieutenant Falkenmeyer was chosen as a Storm Vanguard right after being assigned to the unit. The account of a pilot who isn't a natural-born genius should prove far more valuable to me, though. Learning about Lieutenant Fulner's experiences should be perfect for my purposes. She's been assigned to Cerberus, which means she must be an exceptional surface pilot in her own right. That'd be much appreciated. The infamous 8 minutes of death. That term stands for the average time a new surface pilot lasts in his first real battle against the Beta. In other words, most of them die before 8 minutes have passed.
兵士になって国連軍の施設で研修を受けてからこのドーバー基地に配属されたんだけど、私も越兵訓練でイナラブ台風を初めて見たときはすごく綺麗な機体だなって見とれてた。
So the lieutenant felt the same way as me when she first saw the typhoon.
それから数週間の訓練はとにかくついていくのに必死だったわ。セルベルスでやっていくのだから辛いのは覚悟してたけど、予想以上で。ストームヴァンガードになるんだっていう思いだけでなんとか耐え続けてたわ。でも慣れなかった。適正試験の結果でね、私にはインパクトガードが向いてるんだって。
Sometimes you just gotta, just roll with what you're good at instead of what you want to do. How's that so? Storm Vanguard, a position reserved for a select few, and the most dangerous role on the battlefield. They're the leaders of any charge against the Beta, the star players, so to speak. Only the elite of the elite can hope to fight in this role.
ああ、勘違いしないで。別にインパクトガードが嫌だっていうことじゃないから。まあ確かにその時は毎晩一人で泣くほど悔しかったんだけど、不思議なものね。やってみると意外に気に入っちゃうんだから。
I mean, I get it. Frustrating. I see. Please go on.
ポジションが決まって2ヶ月くらい経って、とうとう初陣の日が来た。その頃はまだストームヴァンガードに未練タラタラで、ヘルガが本当に羨ましかった。でも実戦に出たらそんなことを気にする余裕なんて全くなかったわ。私がやったことはただひたすらに弾を撃つだけ。情けないけどそれが精一杯だったわ。なんでかな。シミュレーションを何度もこなして覚悟だって決めて、今日はやるんだって準備万端整えて挑んだのに。
Well, you might have been a little too pumped up.
だけど全然ダメ。命令も指示も猟奇の応答も聞こえるの。頭でも理解できている。だけどそれはね、体には全然伝わらなかった。戦闘が終わっても全然気づかなかった。小隊長に撃つのをやめろって怒鳴られて。
It's easy to understand, but the doing part is the hard part.
操縦桿から無理やり剥がした手のひらに現実感が戻ってきて、やっと時計を見ることができたの。時間は戦闘開始からたった12分しか過ぎていなかった。そこで私は自分が死の8分を生き延びたことを理解したわ。気にしないふりをしていても心のどこかに重くのしかかっていた死の8分は、私の知らない間に過ぎてた。これが私の死の8分。ごめんね、全然面白くなかったでしょ。
No, it was very insightful. I appreciate your candor, Lieutenant. It wasn't some grand heroic tale, but a down-to-earth account of what a regular, freshly commissioned pilot went through. That's what makes it so valuable for someone like me. I have to admire Lieutenant Fulner for having the courage to share a painful experience like that. She wasn't trying to embellish her story either, no matter what I might think of her. She's truly too nice for her own good.
清十郎、昼間に友達と何かあったの
？Nothing happened. It was the usual.
そう。急に死の8分のことなんて聞いてきたから、なんかあったのかと思って。
Well, perhaps frankness would be the best policy here. I realize now I set my expectations too high after hearing all those anecdotes about the fierce battles taking place on the European front. European forces are clearly very professional. They're not to blame for the disappointment I feel. Only I am. Like I said, there wasn't anything special, but truth be told, there's been a lot on my minds lately.
よかったら聞かせて。
Lieutenant Fulner gave a stunningly honest answer to my question. As a samurai and a scion of Makabe, it is my duty to return the courtesy. I touched a bit on the subject earlier, but the cadet who was sent to the French forces had a glimmer in his eyes, unlike the rest. It's hard to explain. He felt different from everyone else somehow, as in, I could tell he was satisfied by his experiences here. He was brimming with self-confidence. If I had to be completely honest, the more I listened to him talk, the more I started to worry. That's why I brought up the question.
ねえ、清十郎。そのフランスの士官ってベルナデットっていう名前じゃなかった？
I don't know. I don't know who that is. What's with the sudden change in attitude? She seems so uncharacteristically serious. It's almost like she's transformed into a completely different person. I don't quite remember, unfortunately. Though I believe her last name was... oh god. Riviere? Or maybe it was Riviera?
そのお友達、運が悪かったわね。
Huh?
その女はね、口うるさくて高慢ちきでいつも偉そうで、戦闘中も文句ばっかり言ってるティガーよ。
My mic's a little too low. I keep bumping it. Tiger? What? Ooh, cute.
小さいくせにやたら迫力があるっていうか、いちいち嫌味っぽいのよ。でね、乗ってるラファールがまた品がなくて、薄紫の機体にバラのパーソナルマークとか入れちゃって。
Like lavender purple or
あ、ラファールっていうのは台風の柄を悪くしたような機体ね。前に話したでしょ？
Yep, yeah, you sure did.
まあイルフィ、それは誤解ですわ。
ルナ。
That's a face.
いいんだ清十郎。公の席でもない限り。
Yeah, you're in the dining hall. Usually those are like no salute areas, specifically because it'd be really annoying if you need to like stand up. Well, first off, you don't normally salute inside. You only like do that if you're getting like called into like the commander's office for like something bad. And like you actually need to go through like the whole formality procedures of like saluting, going to attention, yada yada yada. Normally, if you gotta go talk to them, you just knock on the door and they're like, come in, and then you come in and then they tell you to sit down or something. But what was it saying, dining hall? Yeah, it'd be annoying if every time some commissioned officer walked past you, you needed to like stop and fucking stand up. Yes, understood. No.
ごめん。リビエール少尉の話をしてたらつい。
Whispers in German. Trouble in paradise, perhaps?
清十郎君、先ほどのラファールの話。
Yes, yes, please exposition dump TSF statistics to me. Oh, and why would that be?
今日の夕食はある意味終わったな。
ごめん。
台風もラファールも、も
Thank
と
you.
もとは欧州戦術機計画という共同開発から派生していますの。
Governments love their acronyms. Acronyms? No. Acronyms, there we go. What the fuck is an acronym? Isn't that when, like, something's old? No, that's... Is it... Moving on. Acronym. That's an acronym.
両機の設計概念は、欧州戦術機計画の新世代基礎技術研究や新世代機設計研究のデータがベース。それに機体の運用や戦術がほとんど同じなのですから、形状が似るのは当然ですわ。
Makes sense. Well, yes, I'm familiar with the basics. We studied the history of TSF development during our training period in the Royal Guard.
しかも実戦配備はラファールの方が早いのに、イルフィは分かってくれなくて。
だって途中で計画から抜けたくせに同じようなものを作るなんてずるいわ。清十郎も納得いかないわよね。
I mean... Nah, I'm good. Now that you mention it, I remember noticing the Typhoon so strongly, very strongly resembles the Japanese Fubuki. Any thoughts on that, Lieutenant Fulner?
清十郎、それは
Just go the China route and copy other countries' stuff that works good. Like, if you look at a side-by-side comparison of, like, the Chinese military hardware against, like, US hardware from, like, 20 years ago, it's almost identical. This is checkmate. I see through you, Lieutenant. You don't want to talk about TSFs with Lieutenant Witzleben, but you also want to complain about the Raphael. That's why you foolishly tried to get around the problem, by using me. Avoiding direct confrontation with Lieutenant Witzleben by handing the topic over to me. A masterful plan. However, you wrongly assumed I'm adverse to talking about TSFs for hours. That was your undoing, Lieutenant Fulner. Behold, the mighty technique of returning the topic to sender! How will you respond, Lieutenant? I'm sure your competitive spirit must be flaring up by now. And here's the truly devious part. If you answer, it'll become impossible for you to escape Lieutenant Witzleben's incessant prattling. Now, for the finishing touch. Following your reasoning, it's to its logical conclusion, couldn't the Typhoon, the Raphael, and the Crippen? Okay. Be considered mere imitations of the Fubuki?
清十郎君、なかなかやりますわね。
ルナ、清十郎？
Look at me with those eyes full of dread all you want. I will not be deterred, for Samurai always returns the kindness he has received.
清十郎君の例えは極めて暴論に近いものですけれど、イルフィの考えがそのくらい乱暴だということですわね。
いや、それは分かってるのよ。自分でもちょっと言い過ぎたってね。
Nope. Made your bed, now sleep in it.
助けてエルが。
さて、食事を取りに行くとするか。
The only winning move is to not to play. I respect it.
一人にしないで。私も行く。
I'm disappointed in you, Lieutenant Fulner. Do you really intend to let that stand?
そんな。
I have to say, you were very knowledgeable about TSFs, Lieutenant Gunslinger.
いいえ、戦学でお恥ずかしい限りですわ。
By the way, you said my statement was close to the absurd. This has to be about the development of the next generation European machine, correct?
水面下で日本の技術提供があった。そうおっしゃりたいのでしょ？
It's not exactly a well-kept secret, Lieutenant. I would love to hear your thoughts on the matter.
清十郎君、聞いても後悔なさらない？
あの二人、ちょっと怖いかも。
Thank you for sharing?
よせいるフリーで見てはいかん。巻き込まれても知らんぞ。
Yep, just look away, eyes down, keep walking.
私は日本の技術提供を否定しませんが、実際の導入範囲は極めて限定的だったと考えていますわ。
Interesting. Please elaborate.
ファントムやタイガー2の回収、発展型の開発でヨーロッパには相当の技術蓄積があったこと。
Yeah, the F4, fucking refrigerator with wings. You fucking strap enough thrust on anything and it'll fly. Also, it's fairly old at this point, but it's still a pretty good fighter. It works, gets the fucking job done, especially after all the upgrades it's gotten through the years. When it first rolled out, it was a fucking hunk of garbage. That's because fighter doctrine at the time was all like, we don't need guns on it because everything will be missiles. You'll fucking shoot down all the enemies before they get in range. Well, this was like in the 70s, so they were a little behind the technology curve at the time, and we're like, oh shit, fuck. We need guns, dog. So then they had to get fucking gun pods installed.
欧州戦術機計画が停滞した分、長期にわたって基礎技術の研究開発が進められていたことなどがその根拠です。
So that thing fucking rolls coal when it starts up. Thing is on fire. So how exactly would you explain the resemblance?
それは最新の理論、技術トレンド、開発国の戦略地政学的な位置と要求仕様で決まるもの。データ大戦における日本とヨーロッパのそれらはことごとく似ています。であれば、機体形状の類似は自明ですわね。
Yeah, it's like convergent evolution, like how everything always turns into a crab if you give it enough time. Like, I don't know the exact amount of times, but like, crabs have evolved or something that fits the crab niche like multiple times in history. Like everything, give enough time, it'll all return to crab. Indeed, there's some truth to your words. I won't deny that geostrategic and tactical concerns play a huge part in TSF design. Lieutenant Witzleben has a good point. The basic specifications should be similar for the EU, the Soviet Union, and the other Asian countries. It's true that Imperial forces focus on hive capture operations, but that's a minor point. The few differences stem from national idiosyncrasies and diverging environmental operational requirements. Fucking word salad, okay. On the other side of the spectrum, you have the American TSFs. They're completely different in terms of design and doctrine, because their fundamental purpose lies elsewhere. Eurasian countries put their emphasis on being able to operate on the continent and inside the underground tunnel networks of a hive, while supply lines being difficult to maintain and space being very limited. The focus obviously lies on high mobility, close quarters combat. On the other hand, the American TSF strategy assumes secure logistics, focusing on their high mobility in order to perform low-risk, long-range bombardments, as well as the ability to adapt to all situations or terrains. Yeah, pretty much.
清十郎
What is it, Lieutenant?
そろそろやめといた方がいいわよ。
What are you talking about?
私は忠告したからね。知らないわよ。朝まで生討論
What is it? I forget what the exact quote is, but something along the lines of like, strategy and tactics win battles, but logistics fucking win wars. Yada yada. Well, proven time and time again, including modern history, if you watch the news.
怒って途中退場なんてルナは許さないんだから。
Despite the regrettable events that transpired yesterday, Lieutenant Witzleben remains as kind as ever, providing me with another wet towel. I don't know if something like this will be enough to repay her favors, but as long as it makes her happy, Makabe Seijiro will be her friend through thick and thin. And as my supervisor, Lieutenant Fulner is duty-bound to remain by my side. Lieutenant Witzleben, it seems like Lieutenant Fulner has a pressing question. There are the wheels under the bus. You know, go do your thing.
それでね、清十郎くん、聞いてる？
Yes, I'm listening. Please, go ahead. I've made a terrible mistake. I underestimated her enthusiasm. Since she talked about TSFs at length the other day, I believed I had an idea of how long this discussion would take. But sadly, Lieutenant Witzleben has smashed her previous record. Be that as it may, I cannot leave without repaying her kindness. Endure, Seijiro, endure! For in enduring you shall grow strong.
ルナ、そろそろ終わりにしようよ。
まさか、まだ始まったばかりですわ。
Just say you have to go to the bathroom, leave, and never come back. Ugh. What incredible endurance! Her passion for TSF bursts forth, like a charging horde to destroy a class beta. The lieutenant's hidden strength can shake the world once it wakes indeed.
ところで、清十郎くん、米軍機に興味はお持ち？
Yes, talk about the F-22. Oh my god, such a good plane, such a good plane. Yes.
ルナテレジア、それくらいにしておけ。清十郎にも予定があるのだ。
And we can talk about how the
そうだな、
A-10 is overrated
清十郎。
and needs to retire.
そうよ。清十郎は今日のレポートも残ってるし、明日も私に起こされるとか、とにかく忙しいのよ。
What's with that last part? You haven't given up yet?
まあ、それは
She
残
will
念。
wake you up at every
一
occasion.
昨日のように、清十郎くんと心ゆくまでお話ししたかったですわ。
It really is a shame. I apologize from the bottom of my heart, Lieutenant Witzleben. Perhaps we will continue this conversation someday. However, today is not that day. My hat's off to your love of TSFs, Lieutenant. I've never met someone as zealous as you.
清十郎、ルナはね、戦術機を婿にするって噂されるくらいなのよ。それに、こう見えて操縦はうまいんだけど荒っぽいのよ。整備士泣かせて困ったものなのよ。
Yeah, I gotta know their limits. But, oh god. Please don't over-G a TSF. Oh my god, the amount of maintenance on that would be fucking unbearable. If a plane gets over-G'd, there's so much fucking tests that need to get run, like structural analysis. Fortunately, most of that's not my job, but I would probably have to like download the flight data and fucking send it to Boeing to get analyzed and blah blah.
嫌ですわ、イルフィ。こう見えて、なんて人聞きの悪い。機体のポテンシャルを効率よく引き出す術を考えてのことですのに。
I do appreciate you understanding the limits of the machine, though, but don't go too far. Like that one B-52 pilot at Fairchild in the 90s who scratched out all the maximums in his flight manual, the maximums and minimums, and scribbled in what he thought they were from him flying badly. He's like, yeah, I've done this before, so clearly the plane can handle this. And then in the air show, he fucking crashed it and like killed the squadron commander, who was his co-pilot, because the original co-pilot didn't want to fly with him because he's like, this dude's fucking insane, is gonna kill somebody, and then proceeded to kill himself and all the crew on board. People are still mad about that. I did the ceremony for that a couple years ago, and oh man, the family of the of some of the deceased are still extremely bitter to this day. That's a side of Lieutenant Witzleben I certainly didn't see coming, but considering how crazy she is about TSFs, I can see her going all out and testing all the specs for herself. Hardly surprising, in fact. I'm actually in shock that I didn't figure this out sooner. That was unexpected, but it kind of makes sense. Compared to the three of them, she's the one who strikes me as the most gentle, a genuine aristocratic lady with perfect manners. And yet, she really is the toughest of them all.
こう見えてというならヘルガこそその道の対価でしょうに。
私に矛先を向けるな、ルナテレジオン。巻き込まないでくれ。
そうそう凛々しく見せてるけど実はヘルがすっごく可愛いんだから。
Nah, I can see it.
よせイルフリーデン。私は少しも可愛くないぞ。
Nah, it's just Gap Moe, it's fine. In fact, it's good. So she also has to put up with Lieutenant Fulner's shenanigans? I can relate. Oh, how much I can relate to the sorrow Lieutenant Falkenmeyer must feel. What a troublesome friend Lieutenant Fulner must be, with her pushiness and utter lack of tact.
この前の休暇に3人でリバプールに行ったんだけど
What? Liverpool?
ヘルがいなくなったのよ。
Why would you ever go there on purpose?
よせイルフリーデン。それは。
それでルナと2人でいないねなんて言いながら探してたら
Now, Liverpool, that is the fucking England fucking stereotype you picture in your head. God. Well, from what little I know of Lieutenant Falkenmeyer, I would guess at an antique shop, perhaps, looking at old swords.
まあそういうイメージよねヘルガって。
よせやめろ。やめてくれ。
なんとこの人ソフトクリームの行列に並んでました。
Okay. I like ice cream too.
こう見えてこの人甘いもの大好きです。
Okay.
注文したソフトクリームは濃縮還元合成バナナ味でした。
Don't know how I feel about banana. I can see it working, like if you made like homemade ice cream with real bananas, like with the chunks in it. But I don't see synthetic banana flavoring. You fiend! However, how lovely does Lieutenant Falkenmeyer look in this fleeting moment, fit to burst into tears at any second. Why is my heart beating so fast? What a rare glimpse at the weakness of a proud military woman! If you would not call this supreme beauty, what would you call art then?
悪くない。甘いものが好きでも悪くないぞ。
No, it's fine. I got a fucking sweet tooth. Correct. You're absolutely correct.
でソフトを買ったヘルガがこそこそと端っこに行って食べようとした瞬間声をかけたんだけどよほど驚いたんでしょうね。
Oh god, of course she got
みんなで
fish and
真っ赤になっ
chips.
て涙目になっちゃったのよ。
驚いて落としたらどうするつもりだバカ者。
でもそのソフトがあまりに美味しそうだったから一口もらったの。そしたらしばらく口を聞いてくれなくなっちゃったのよ。
A bite? You fucking bit into ice cream, you fucking animal. I don't have sensitive teeth like some people.
誰でもそうなりますわ。
But biting into ice cream? Oh my god, the fucking nerves in my teeth are like retracting. I don't even know what. Just from the thought. So, what did she do exactly, Lieutenant Falkenmeyer?
イルフリーデが一口と言っておきながら。
Oh, she
半
took
分食べた。
a big bite. You were merciless!
その前には
Don't
私のフィッシュ&
don't
チップ
focus
ス
on how
が
I
たっ
flubbed
ぷり
that.
いかれましたわ。
Meaning the ice cream was her dessert?
あの店の濃縮還元合成バナナ味はうまいと評判で、リバプールでの休暇を目標に頑張っていたのに。
Fried fish is good though, especially catfish. That's the one nice thing I will say about Biloxi, Mississippi when I was there. The DFAC at Kiesler, they have catfish a lot, and it's real good.
そ
Other than that, I give no words of praise to Mississippi, god-awful state that should be burned from the face of the earth. I still have the fucking athlete's foot from that, and that was like 7 years ago. Like, the entire bottom of my foot fucking rotted off. My condolences.
で、次の休暇の時に3倍返しになっちゃったんだけどね。
当然の報いです。
That's to be expected. Alright, this should do. Still, at this point, I have more questions than answers. I don't like to generalize, but going by what I've heard from the other cadets, all of the EU forces seem to have similarly loose standards of discipline, which is precisely the issue. My contemporaries all face different problems, depending on the respective host country. There seems to be more disciplined armies than the Bundeswehr, but they're not necessarily more proficient in combat. Supposedly, there are also forces with excellent morale and skill who are being held back by their outdated equipment. Yup. The one thing everyone agreed on, although at varying degrees, was that European armies seem to lack a sense of urgency. Maybe that's the reason why their forces feel inferior when compared to the Imperial Royal Guard. Which raises the question, how could this possibly be the case? Europe is one of mankind's front lines, together with northeastern Africa and the Far East. If one of these three major lines of defense in the war, it's one of the three major lines of defense in the war against the Beta. There we go. Words. You ever just like start talking and like your brain just sputters out and you completely like lose focus and don't know what's going on anymore? No? Just me? Okay. Britain is barely 40 kilometers away from mainland Europe, with several large hives were built. The place is literally crawling with Beta. To make matters worse, the Europeans are forced to fight inside the effective range of the heavy laser class during their regular culling operations. Given the ever-present Beta threat, how can they maintain such an idyllic atmosphere? Someone said that this has to be resignation. That no one, from the upper brass to the lowest of cadets, believes Europe will ever be recaptured. Someone else argued it's exactly because they behaved this way that they lost their homelands in the first place. That's why, he added, European cadets should be sent to the Empire to train, not the other way around. I can't fully agree with that position, but I won't deny both of them made valid points. The Empire of Japan is the only country on Earth that has expelled the Beta from occupied territory. Europe, in contrast, remains under its thrall. It is only natural to question what we could possibly hope to learn from them. That G-bombs work for busting hives. Because you didn't do it alone. I'd be lying if I said such thoughts hadn't crossed my mind. The 7 heroes. Was their inspirational story nothing but falsehood? The cynical piece of wartime propaganda disseminated to improve humanity's morale? Major Eichberger, Captain Rollerstein, Lieutenant Fahrenhorst. It's Far, not Fair. Fahrenhorst. I was looking forward to learning from them directly, to be in a position where I could study their piloting techniques firsthand. I was sure this would be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but reality had other plans. The only pilots I'm able to personally interact with are newly commissioned lieutenants. Of course, that in itself is by no means surprising. It's highly likely we exchange students are very low on their priority list. As a matter of fact, every cadet I've asked told me they're surrounded by surface pilots fresh out of the academy, supervised. So what is the point of this exercise? Why did the Royal Guard headquarters send me here? All that is left of my exchange is the live fire exercise. I'm here thanks to the Imperial Treasury. My stay is made possible thanks to the taxes paid by hardworking Japanese subjects. How could I dare return to the Empire having learned nothing of importance? Inconceivable. No, as they say, wait and hope. Simulator training for the live fire exercise will start tomorrow. I'm more than ready. Come what may, I shall prevail. Mark my words. I will learn from this experience and bring back something of true value. Do not give up yet, Seijiro. You still haven't seen the Cerberus Battalion in action. Whew. Moist towelette, my only friend. Lieutenant Witzleben. I have to keep a positive outlook. Tomorrow is when the real thing starts. Alright, I should go to bed at once. I'll need to be well rested. And it will also serve as a good preparation to deal with Lieutenant Falkenmeyer's, Lieutenant Fulner's morning raid. There we go. I saw the F in my brain. Auto-completed what I wanted it to be. Day 5. Oh, man. And you thought we were going to have a long episode today? Fucking psych. My brain is still, like, rattling. And I don't have good balance, and it's really distracting me. And, you know, I'll record the second half of this, like, later today, so that way I can upload it, because today's the day I go back to work. And if I don't have another episode up, I won't have enough videos to last the week when I'm at work. So, yeah. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and I hope to see you all next time for the next episode of MUV Love, Photonmelodies, Adoration. I hope to see you guys all there. Later.